So, what do you think? Seductive. That's nice.
It's really good.
Filmmakers for coming and joining us for this brilliant Women Over 50 in Film Festival online one. It's a bit of a challenge for all of us. It's very exciting in one way, but next year hopefully we'll see you all in person. But thank you for submitting your films, and well done for getting them screened, because I've watched every single one and I really have enjoyed every single one of them. My name's Thomasina Gibson. I'm a filmmaker. I produce and direct. I'm also a writer. I've had 8 books published, and I'm a journalist, mainly in film and television. So been in the business a long time, passionate about film, passionate about women, particularly in film, and films like yours that actually have a really lovely, strong message to get across to everybody. Massive welcome as well. I know they're not here at this moment, but massive welcome to everybody who's actually going to come and enjoy these films and the other 50 films that are available when the festival goes live on the 26th of September. So just as we're getting started, I'm going to introduce everybody in order, and if you just put your hand up so that lovely Nuala, who's producing us, knows who we are and can spotlight you. So we're going to start with Lou, Sumray, Eyeless and Parkway. Hi Lou. And then we're going on to Sylvie, Gravagna and Loïc, Maldonado, who did Happy Motherhood. Fantastic, and the lovely interpreter too. And then we've got Liliana, who's just joined us with Escape in the Night. Hi. And then Olivia Hatred and Nim Johnson from Home from Home. So this is Olivia and Nim. And then Sophie Mullins from Inland Island, I can't even speak properly. Sorry, Olivia. Sophie, see, nerves. And then Tyro, Heath, made Married People, fantastic new documentary. Michael Zazara is not with us, but he is emailing and sending his contribution by WeTransfer. And then Eve McConnachie, Haud Close to Me. Hi, Eve. Right, there we are. So that's all of you. Hopefully you can hear me and maybe see some other people as well. So my first question to everybody is, obviously, what was your inspiration for the film? And we're going to start with Lou. What was your inspiration?
Hi. Inspiration, I could go back to when I was 12, when I saw the big cooling towers on the M1, which is the motorway that goes up to the north of England. And I was with a family group and they said, oh, look, there are the headless ladies, which I thought was a really nice way of thinking of it. So that's a long time ago, obviously, now that we're all over our 50s, or some of us are anyway, even us.
Over 60.
And I then, I used to get the megabus down to London. I live in the north of England. And I would go to these cooling towers, which is where the railway station at Midland Parkway, to change over onto a train. And it's the weirdest place. It's like desolation, it's in a marshland, and there's these giant cooling towers and a railway station in the middle of nowhere. And I thought it's too weird to miss it, really. So I started drawing. And then it kind of got carried away from there.
You did a fantastic job with it. I loved it. So either Sylvie or Loïc, what was your inspiration for Happy Motherhood?
J'ai écrit une pièce de théâtre sur la vie des femmes françaises dans les années 50. Et dans ce spectacle, il y avait une scène qui se déroulait dans le cabinet de la gynécologue. Et cette scène était toujours un grand... enfin, les gens trouvaient ça très intéressant et très fort. Et j'ai eu envie de sortir cette scène où je jouais tous les personnages et de donner vie à ces femmes et d'en faire un vrai faux documentaire.
C'est un petit peu long. She wrote a play on women in the 50s, and one scene of this play was taking place in a gynecological office, and from this scene, the idea of the film came.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful film. So sort of poignant and timely. It's just fab. Love it. Really love it. So we are on to Liliana, Escape in the Night.
It was born because I was in an exposition of my photo in Mexico City, and I have to the lady that asked me to do the exposition asked for me for art movie. So I put inside with this video. It was very, very strange thing because it was born because the school, the French school, Saint Luigi de Francesi in Rome, Saint Louis des Français in Rome, asked me to join them to a concorso di poesia, poem concours, and they sent me this poem of André Chédid. And I do a registration of this in the car to come back from to my home in Mexico City, and I showed this to the lady that asked me to do this exposition, and she said to me, "It's good, very good for the exposition we put inside." And I saw the editor in Rome put some photos of the exposition after this little video that I've done with my phone in the Uber car.
But it looks great. It looks like you get that whole sense of feeling of having to get somewhere, and there's the confusion in the background and the dark, and then this lovely poem that's going with it. Yeah, it's great. Great.
It was original was in French, and with underwriter in Spanish.
Wow.
I changed it in English underwrite.
Totally cosmopolitan.
Very strange thing.
I love it. I love it. And talking of cosmopolitan, Olivia, and then Home from Home. My goodness, that's it's quite a hard hitter. It's quite a hard watch, I found.
I'm an actress too. I'm a painter and actress too.
Wow.
I was before actress and then painters and then photographer and director too.
Everything. A bit of everything. A bit of everything.
Yes. We say in Italy, yeah, I sing and I sing and I play.
I love it. I love it. We're going to do a show all about you, just you and all the bits and pieces that you could do. So, Olivia, can I move on to you and then about Home from Home? So, I found it a really hard watch, a really emotional film to watch, and I just wanted to cuddle Lynn's character. I just for all the goodness that she was pouring out and for everything else. It was terribly moving. So what started that off for you?
Right, I'm so glad you had that reaction. So I was fortunate enough, I got on the National Film School's diverse directing scheme last year, and that gave me the opportunity to make a short film. But also had very tight restrictions. So I wanted a story that was about two characters, and several years before that, I had started, as so many of us were very moved by the refugee crisis and what could you possibly do. And so we started to take refugees into our home, and which was a lovely and incredibly interesting experience. But I was very struck by the comic gap between my good intentions, as you know, oh, I really want to help the refugees, and my trivial annoyance at their domestic failings. And I am not very house proud. I don't really care very much, but even I was, I would just go, why am I irritated? This person has come thousands of miles from a war-torn country and I'm worried about what bin they're using. This is so ridiculous. So it was that, it was a way of kind of dealing with a serious situation, I hope, with a slightly absurd edge to it. And that was the inspiration. And then I thought, well, what if it was someone who cared much more about their home, or who felt much more protective about their home than I do, and for whom this was a much bigger step. And so that's where Nim's character began to kind of take form. And I was incredibly fortunate to find Nim to embody that person, and her fragility and her kindness and everything.
She did. It's just, Nim, an amazing job. So how did you start to just form this character?
Well, I think I was incredibly lucky because Olivia's such a wonderful script writer, and it was such a truthful script. It wasn't hard to understand how Clara felt. And you can relate to those things because we all go through those situations, whether it's with the kids or whatever, or a friend or a guest who comes to stay, and little things do annoy us, and yet we want everything for the best. And I think in this particular situation, there was quite a bit of underlying tension in that it was a new situation for her. She didn't know quite what to expect, but she did have her own expectations, and somehow things didn't work out. And she wanted to be helpful. She really, really wanted to do a good thing, but she couldn't deal with it. She really couldn't deal with it at first. But everything about the script and the story just spoke to me. I thought, this is just such a wonderful story and so truthful.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, the first time the trainers offered, the look on both people's faces is extraordinary, and the way the young man acts like every other teenager in every part of the world, whether you've come from as a refugee from wherever, or whether you've been brought up in the poshest house in England, they're all the same, and they all react like that, and that careless, just walking about. So it's lovely. So thank you for sharing it. And so from home to inland island, Sophie, where did your inspiration come for this?
I found a book in the market, the Portobello Market, a little photo book. I do photography as well, and it was these monks in their cassocks with these beautiful St. Bernard's dogs digging someone out of an avalanche, and it was such a strange scene that for years I wondered about them. And eventually I went up there with my sister and sister-in-law we were on an adventure together with this guide who was very macho, and it was a bit of a disaster. It really was. We were exhausted. We were baffled and bamboozled by our guide, and so I went again with this. It was so synchronous with this incredibly amazing guide called Claire Tholier, whose father, grandfather, great-grandfather had all been the photographers and documenters of the Alps. So whenever I stopped to film, she'd go, "Oh, I spent my childhood with my grandfather waiting for the light to change. And so I think I'd say Claire inspired me, because I thought I was going to make a film about the monks and the dogs. I was intrigued in them, but after being with Claire, I just really wanted to begin to find a feminine perspective on the Alps. And there's very little documentation, or, you know, it's a very, there was just very little feminine presence there. So I started to explore that, and I used, and I think I was inspired by Agnes Varda actually as well, in the way she makes films, to be able to use Claire and this voice of the woman, she. So yeah,
it works. It works. It's a beautiful, beautiful film, and as you see, that feminine perspective, and the way it's shot with the light and everything else, and just that journey and that subtleness as well. I love when in the film where you see, oh, we've got another guide, and it's just when you sort of say, or when the narrator says about this guide, the first one, you think, okay, that's not a good thing, and then it's just gone. He's gone. And we're into this wonderful adventure. So that's great. Thank you. So Tyro, married people. As I'm a married person, and the other one's been banished so that I can do this. It's great. What inspired you to make this great wee film?
Well, I made the film during the first few months of lockdown. And I was inspired by an initiative the BFI Network kind of put out, where they were encouraging filmmakers to make films during lockdown with the limited resources that they had and the limited things we could shoot. And I'd moved back home to live with my parents, who had been together for 40 years. I sort of moved back home to the house that I grew up in, and was observing their marriage in probably more of an intense way, and that no one could go outside, and we were all kind of stuck inside together. And just decided that I would make this 90-second short documentary about their marriage, which is kind of, quite sort of light in a way, that it's just sort of looking at the kind of the mundane day-to-day of living with someone else, but also has quite a kind of tender, moving thread that I hope kind of comes through as well.
Oh, it does. And as somebody who's been married for 38 years this year, I totally get it. And it just made me smile all the way through, and it did encourage the frustrations of lockdown. No, it's great. So congratulations. So Michael, as I've said, is going to send his answers to these two questions that I'm going to ask you in, so you'll be able to see them when they do come. But Eve McConnachie, Haud Close to Me, what set you off on that lovely journey?
I suppose the first thing I should explain is that my day job is in-house filmmaker for Scottish Ballet. So all day I'm surrounded by dance. Scottish Ballet has a company for older dancers, so it's older women over 55, and I really just became fascinated by them, just the beauty and how touching their movements were, possibly because of their age as well. And so I wanted to make a film really focusing on an older dancer, because you don't see it that often.
You don't see that often, and it was absolutely beautiful. I just thought the strength and the beauty of the young dancer completely and utterly echoed to show that this older dancer did everything that she did with that strength and that confidence, and then just immersed in this beautiful poetry as well. It's a gorgeous film, and of course made all the more poignant by the loss of one of the lead dancers, and so condolences to everybody at Scottish Ballet and her family for that too, because I know she'll be sadly missed, but what a beautiful, beautiful legacy. So congratulations on that.
Hi, hello. This is Michał Zadara. I am calling from Berlin, but our film was produced in Poland. The film is called One Shot, and it's part of a larger series of films called Films from the Smog Years, which all deal with the issue of air pollution. So your first question was, what was my inspiration for the film? And the answer is, it's part of a series of films from the smog years. And what we did, myself and my co-authors, Barbara Wysocka and Wiktor Loga-Skalczewski, is we tried to find ways in which air pollution changes the basic ways in which we relate to each other, in which it interrupts whatever we think is normal. And so there are various various films that we made about simple situations in which people go out drinking in the city, but then the air pollution is so bad that they start fighting with each other and arguing with each other. Here, people are trying to shoot a movie. There are other examples of just ways in which air pollution changes everything about our lives. And so we tried to make films that show this without, of course, being heavy-handed, and that show this in a somewhat comedic way. How challenging, you ask, was it trying to shoot that film in those masks and in that location?
Here are some movies.
Now,
Phineas and Ferb the movie.
Siri,
Candace Against the Universe.
stop it.
Okay.
I don't know why Siri just tried to answer my questions for you. The question is, how challenging was it trying to shoot in masks in that location? Well, the answer is actually it wasn't the masks and in that locations above the highway that goes through the middle of the city. That was not the most challenging part. The most challenging part was that there was a director on set, and that was me, and there was a character called the director, played by Barbara Wysocka, who in real life is an actress, but also a director. So the other actors, and actually Barbara herself, weren't always clear because of the heat and the pollution and the noise, and two directors, so me directing and then another director playing the director. So the actors weren't really clear when we were really shooting and when she was explaining what they should do and when I was explaining what they all should do. So this became very confusing, and so the 3 or 4 hours that we actually had on set were actually we had this feeling of being intoxicated, because we really kept on not knowing if we were shooting right now or if we are not shooting right now, or if we're really stopping, or if the actors are playing that they're stopping. So that was quite a lot of fun and very exhausting and very confusing.
Thank you for those answers. Oh, brilliant, great. I love it very much. So that was at the start of your film journey, but what are your hopes going back to Lou and Eyeless and Parkway? What are your hopes for the future for this film? What do you hope is going to happen to it? Your baby, what's going to happen?
Big question, isn't it? What's my hopes? I guess we all want the hope of it being able to be seen in the world. Online has produced lots of different aspects to stuff, and I think people have been really creative with it, but actually going to the cinema or I'd love to see it on the streets or anywhere. That's a kind of, I'm a bit surprised to be here, because it's all kind of like a bit, how I've come into film has been a bit kind of accidental from how I see it. So to actually see my film on a screen is just amazing. You know? And I suppose I have a hope. I'm passionate. I come from a drawing background, like a few people here that come from an art background, well, a visual arts background. And if it encourages somebody else to have a go, that's a passion for me. If it encourages somebody to pick up a pencil or a bit of charcoal, does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. It does, and it's a really great answer. And because that is, I mean, it's about inspiring people in some way or other, which is fantastic. Eve, so can I ask you what your hopes are for this beautiful film moving forward?
I'd like people to keep watching it, and I would like people to see it and realise that you don't have to fit the conventional idea of what makes a dancer, and the human body in all its forms is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a simple wish and a simple statement, beautifully made. So good luck with that, and I hope we speak again soon. And are you happy to go back to Happy Motherhood and talk to Sylvie and Loïc?
Sure. Voilà. Oui, on aimerait organiser un partenariat avec le planning familial.
We would like to organize a partnership with the Planning Familial, which is an association who supports women.
Et organiser des projections, débats.
Organize debates and projections coupled.
Auprès de publics jeunes et moins jeunes.
With all types of publics, like young people, but also all ages.
Pour ouvrir la mémoire d'un sujet tabou en France.
To open the memory on a subject that is not talked about, a taboo in France.
Et aussi, on pensait faire une tournée dans les EHPAD, comment on dit.
We would like to make a journey in the hospital, the place where old people live before they die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to present the show on these places.
Et recueillir leurs témoignages.
And collect their testimony on this subject.
Et aussi, justement, sensibiliser sur que le fait que la maternité n'est pas le seul fait des femmes.
And also, contribute to the reflection on the fact that maternity is not the monopoly of women, and that
the women problem.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's a question of society, and that should concern everybody, men and women.
Absolutely, and I think that's why the partnership between the two directors is so lovely. You can see that it's very much a holistic view that comes across, and utterly moving. And then to have all the actors just laughing at the end, and it's just, you know, it's a lovely positive way of bringing an issue, strong issue, to the fore. And doing it with seriousness, but then having this lovely lightness, saying, here we are, we're going out into the world, and we can do it in a really good way. So it's lovely for that. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
So Olivia and Nim, moving forward, what would you like to see for this beautiful film?
It's fantastic to be able to screen it at this festival, and it would be lovely, of course, to be able to show the film to live audiences. I think all of us wish for that for so many reasons, just to be able to have that interaction with people. And with this film too, I hope that people will watch it and think about how, you know, I don't know, that it's not exactly an advert for this for this undertaking, but that actually it is an incredibly life-enhancing and wonderful thing to do as a host, and it does make a huge difference to people. So I would also like it to encourage people to open their doors to anybody who needs a home.
Great, great, I love it, thank you. Then Liliana, who waited so beautifully. I'm so sorry I jumped forward. So what do you want to happen to this film?
Well, this film will go to Cinema d'Idea. It's a festival in Rome, and this year will be a festival online, like internet, but normally it was done on the Tiber in an island, Isola Tiberina, and it's a festival about women works. The name is a festival D'Idea, like well, and it will go to in Monterey. There is a little festival joined to the bigger Monterey Film Festival that called the name of this festival is Esto es para esto. As a festival is a festival about art movies. It will go there too. And then I hope we'll go in all the world. Oh, it's possible to show it.
I don't have any doubt. I think you'll definitely be there. Sure. Love it. Sophie, Inland Island, little wish for your film.
To have screenings so that I can discuss the ideas with people. It is about women's journeys, and it could be the journey as an artist or anybody's journey really. I love it when men really engage with the film and the subject as well. And I suppose I want people to be inspired by the environmental issues, because I think nature and nurture is a huge central part of the film. So nature is very much, it's not just the sentence nature, nurture, talking about nurture, it's also talking about nature, nurturing nature, being part of all of that. So I just want to inspire thoughts and conversations really. There's lots of ideas in there. So
yeah. And I'm sure it will. Just there's so many elements of it that deserve further discussion and just thought, just a whole different trains of thoughts started off from it. So yeah, sounds good. Tyro, what are you going to do with your lovely married people?
Yeah, I mean, I would just love for more people to see the short. I think I found making a kind of a very short really liberating, and I hope that encourages other people to do that. It didn't really cost very little, and I did it all myself. And I think, I'd love it if more people sort of went about making shorts that way. I think it can be a really sort of exciting process. And yeah,
brilliant. Love it.
So what we're working on with the foundation that produced these films is to write actually a bill for politicians then to pass in Parliament, to be able to reduce the amount of air pollution that gets created in Poland because of coal heating and transportation. So these films are a way to make the invisible visible, and so in a way it's a spiritual journey. The spirit in question, though, being air pollution. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thanks for letting me record my answers. And I hope you enjoy the film, and thank you so much for showing it at the film festival. Yes, all the best. Good night.
So all that is for me to say again is thank you for letting us share your films. For anybody who is going to join our audience and view these wonderful films at the Women over 50. Oops, sorry. Women WOFFF20 Film Festival. It's just my husband walking through in the background. There's these great 8 films. There are also 50 other films. I just hope that you watch as many as you possibly can, and join the celebration of all our filmmakers, men and women. Just try to get these wonderful ideas out there. And also you can vote. There'll be a link on the website where you can vote for the audience choice, which is really, really important. And I hope that one of these films that we've just been talking about ends up there. That's for sure. And again, just to Nuala and her team, one, thank you from my own perspective to ask me to come and view these films and share these thoughts. And just look forward to seeing and hearing all about your films and how they're doing at the festival. It's the 26th of September to the 30th of September. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Can everyone give us a wave, and I'll just get a screen grab of us. Everybody waving.
All right. Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.
Tutte.